What's up, guys? Doing throwback this week. We're doing E.T., the Extra-Terrestrial. I have not seen this movie since 2001, so it was kind of nice to sit down and watch a movie that I hadn't seen in a very long time. My 5-year-old Madison, she watched it with me. Gotta say, the movie came out June 11th, 1982. So with that said, I already went in with 80s graphics, 80s stuff. Some of the stuff, the very beginning of the movie, it's kind of scary. Like if you're a little kid, because Madison got a little scared when the little aliens are out there kind of looking at plants. Here come the trucks rolling in, and he takes off running, which now that you're an adult, you can totally tell the ET's like on like a cart and they're like pulling it because he's stationary as he moves through the woods.
This is actually the first time I had ever seen this movie. I did not see this movie as a kid. Upon talking to my dad after watching this movie, I was told that I was kept from this movie because I was a sensitive child and it would have scared me. And I completely believe that because there is some scary stuff in this movie. I looked at this movie and half the time I'm watching this movie, I'm like, this is a kid's movie? They're cussing all over the place. And I'm not talking about just dropping an S-bomb every once in a while. I mean, there's some pretty nasty stuff said in this movie. There's scenes where like people are breaking into homes and people are screaming and running through cornfields, and I'm like, this is really scary. I just felt that this wasn't really a kid's movie. It's rated PG. I didn't think they can cuss that much in the I don't think they can cuss that much in the PG movie anymore. I think back in the 80s they were a little more lenient on it.
I first and last saw this movie when I was 11, when it was in its original run in the theaters. It's very nostalgic for me because I saw it during summer break with my mom, and she'd take my sister and I to the movies during the summer. And I enjoyed it very much, and even as an adult today, I still enjoyed it.
Watching E.T. again really took me back in time, a different age, a simpler time, as some of us would like to say. This movie stands up pretty well. Because it takes me back in time, I actually enjoyed it a little more than I think I did when it originally came out. Those of you who weren't alive at that time, I don't know how you'll react to that necessarily, but it helps keep the storyline a little simpler. You're not asking logical plot hole questions like, well, if the kid is lost and the mom wants to know where he is, why doesn't she just call him on his cell phone? Oh, hey, we didn't have all that stuff back then, so just gotta get in the car, drive around, and see what happens.
One thing I did notice watching it now, you don't see any adult faces until E.T. gets like discovered by everybody. Like everything is done from the little boy's point of view. So Spielberg, that's a good touch right there, that everything was from his point. Because I was watching, like, why don't we see the cop's face? Or we see the guy in his dangling keys like all the time. It's like, okay, that guy's obviously a bad guy or some kind of whatever. If it were to come out today, exactly how it did in 1982, I don't think it would do good. The story elements are there, but some of the stuff just didn't age well. Like the bike flying stuff. Now here's the thing, Madison being 5, loved that. Thought that was really cool that the kids were on the bikes and E.T.'s having them float. I mean, of course, I'm watching like, oh, those graphics, not good at all. I mean, obviously the classic shot over the moon, that looked really good.
Now, when it comes to the enjoyment of the movie, I had a mixed experience with this movie. I went into this movie thinking this is one of the highest grossing movies of all time. It's a classic. Everybody thinks of this movie positively. I was kind of bored for the first half of the movie. And I was kind of kicking myself about it. I'm like, why are you not enjoying this? This is one of the greatest movies of all time. What is wrong with you? And I'm like, am I just being too critical of the movie? I think that the beginning of the movie, I just didn't get that attachment to the children. I feel that if I would have seen it as a child, the childlike wonder would have kicked in and I would have enjoyed it. But this isn't anything new for me. When this movie was made, very few movies have been made with good aliens. Very few movies have been made with that child connection, but now it's a cliche. This has been done tons of times. I realize this is one of the first times and it's one of the most iconic times, but for me, watching it now, I just felt kind of bored.
What's interesting as an adult now to come back and see the movie is back then in the 80s, playing Dungeons & Dragons, leaving a kid home when they're sick while you go off to work, and wearing overalls were all normal things we did back then and didn't think twice about. Now I expect CPS to come bursting through the door and take the kids away because due to child endangerment. This story is timeless, and I think it still holds up today. I think a new generation of kids will enjoy it. The kids in the movie act well, they're adorable, the alien's adorable, the faceless government men are still scary. I did not have the sense of wonder I did when I first saw it as a child, and I know movies can still do that to me today as an adult. I'm not sure if this is because I'm seeing it through the eyes of an adult or if because I know it's what will happen.
All the kids do really great jobs, really good performers, really bring it home emotionally, which, boy, it's hard to even imagine that happening, especially when they're acting across prosthetic or rubber, whatever E.T. was really made out of. Also, still pretty impressive effects, even in this day and age, still very believable. I was invested in what I was watching and I wasn't seeing all the wires and matte effects that maybe you might expect to see 30 plus years, etc. later on down the road.
The movie, though, though towards the end reminded me of Goonies. The kids all working together to like get the alien, you know, get E.T. back to his ship to go home. Looking at like a kid watching it, the kid had fun. Kids are gonna like it. It kind of has that kid wonderment. Being an adult watching, I was just kind of like, yeah, I've seen it. I appreciate it. It's there. I'm glad I got to see it, but it's like I don't really need to see it again. Plus, watching stuff from the 80s really pisses me off of how parents were. It's kind of let your kids do whatever you want. Now we're kind of like, oh no, don't say that.
Now when it comes to the end of the movie, I don't really think this is a happy movie. I got done with the movie kind of feeling bad. I felt like everybody was sad, and I just felt like it was an experience that left me feeling bad. So when I finished this movie, I sat there for a good 20 minutes thinking, what is wrong with you, Nick? This is a classic movie. How did you not like this movie? I just kind of came to the conclusion that there were parts of the movie I liked and parts of the movie I didn't like, and that's just kind of the nature of seeing a movie like this 20-something years later, or even more, like 30, 40 years later, or whatever it is, that you're going to have the experience of these cliches as being done a million times. You're going to have the experiences of modern day movies behind you. You're going to look at it completely differently, and I looked at it completely differently than I probably would have when I watched it as a kid.
I loved all the Star Wars references. As a big Star Wars fan, I liked seeing all the toys from my childhood. That was very nostalgic. My favorite scenes still are great. I love when he hides in the stuffed animals. I love when he tries to heal the brother's fake Halloween injury. That's a good scene.
There are a few interesting elements to the film that sort of pitch E.T. as this Jesus-like figure, heals people, dies and comes back to life, and he's got a big white glowing robe and extends his arms out. I'm not really sure what to make of all that personally. It didn't really speak to me on any kind of a spiritual or emotional level in that regard. John Williams' beautiful score certainly did. There's some amazing cinematography, especially all the night sequences. I'm sure that not all of that was true in camera, and there was probably a lot of matte paintings and add-ins, but it still looks incredible. It's a gorgeous film to look at. Overall, I think I actually like the film now more than when it originally came out. I appreciate it a little bit better. I think it looks gorgeous. That music is still a classic. The visual effects are still pretty stunning, and the characters in the story just really keep me engrossed. So overall, 9 out of 10.
Overall, I give this movie a 9 out of 10. There's not too much wrong with it. A lot of the special effects still hold up today. It's amazing when you think that they didn't have as much CG as they do now, and that a lot of this had to be done with models and animatronics and matte painting, and it still looks pretty good.
If this is a movie that you're nostalgic about, you're probably still gonna love it. If this is a movie that you're coming into for the first time like me, you're probably gonna ask a lot of questions and they're all gonna go unanswered. And that was a little frustrating to me. The effects don't hold up, but that's okay. It was like in the early 80s. I didn't expect them to hold up. The acting wasn't bad. The kids did a good job. I saw some faces I recognized from my generation, like Drew Barrymore and Erica Elenick, I believe is how you say it. I just didn't become as attached as I was hoping I would, much to the dismay of everybody I've talked to about this movie since I watched it. I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10. I just didn't get into it. I can understand that people love it. I can understand that it holds a place in their hearts, but I wasn't one of those people that saw it as a kid, so nostalgia's not there. And I think that really needs to be there to hold this movie for modern days.
I would give the movie a 7 out of 10. John Williams has great music. The E.T. little guy looked great. The story was great. The kid acting was great. Drew Barrymore, it's like her first thing. She's super little. You're like, oh, Drew. So, I mean, it's definitely one of those movies, if you've got kids, you kind of want to throw back to the 80s. Like, hey, you know, son, daughter, you want to watch this thing? They might like it, might not. Mine did. Just go on ahead and like this video, favorite it. Subscribe to this channel for more throwbacks like this, movie reviews, unboxing videos. If you have any ideas or suggestions for ones, shoot that down in the comment section below. We will take them seriously. We will watch them. We watch these every week on our own time to bring it to you. With all that said, thanks for watching, and remember, you heard it here at The Source.